Okay, today we're talking 6 reasons why you should consider the Infiniti QX50 and 3 things that could be a little bit better. Now, the first reason why you should consider the QX50 is just the exterior styling. It's a really handsome looking vehicle. This closely competes with the Lexus NX, but that one's a little bit more controversial in styling. I don't think anybody will really deny that this is not a good looking vehicle. This one in particular in front of me is the Sport trim, and it has a little bit of an updated appearance. As you can tell on the front end, the front grille is a little bit more angular, a little bit more aggressive, and you'll also notice a lot of black accents on this vehicle. First of all, the grille is all piano black plastic. You also have a darkened Infiniti emblem, and then take a look at some of the black cladding around the fog lights over here, and the same story applies to the side of the vehicle. You've got more black trim over here, and even the window surround, which is traditionally chrome, has been blacked out along with the roof rail. Your Sport trim also gets you the upgraded 20-inch wheels running on run flat tires. Then coming over to the back, you got a similar story here with a blacked out plastic trim piece between the taillights, darkened Infiniti emblem, and then your dual exhaust ports are also blacked out. And the interior is no exception to that. Take a look at this beautiful, gorgeous interior of the QX50. You've got really nice use of materials all throughout the door panel. Take a look at these seats in the Morocco red color. They look really beautiful, and they're also really comfortable. And then climbing inside, you've got a lot of screen real estate. 7-inch instrument gauge cluster, 8-inch touchscreen over here, followed by a 7-inch touchscreen over here. Still lots of physical buttons. Also, just see how this red leather wraps around the center arm console. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And then you got a little bit more of that aluminum trim piece over on the passenger side. I mean, the interior of the QX50 does not disappoint with its beautiful use of different materials and textures, and just a very comforting place to sit in. And the second row is just as nice too. Opening up the door, you do have the Infiniti logo down here. Still same nice use of materials. Also same red colored seats, which look really nice. You do have rear air vents back there, and you've got rear USB ports. But arguably the best part of this interior is this giant panoramic sunroof that provides so much light into the cabin and just gives it a nice airy feel, but you can also shut it with a sunshade if you feel like it's just getting a little bit too warm inside. Now, the second reason why you should consider the Infiniti QX50 is it comes packed with lots of standard features. Starting off, you do get LED headlights at the front with these daytime running lights as standard. You also get 19-inch wheels as standard on the regular Pure trim as well. Coming over to the back, you still get LED taillights and a dual exhaust port down near the back. Also, every 2023 QX50 comes with 3 years of complimentary maintenance. Every QX50 also comes with standard remote start and keyless entry. Among the standard features include a 6-speaker Bose audio system. You also get Infiniti's Pro Pilot Assist, which is the entire suite of safety features, including blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, lane keep and lane centering assist, pedestrian detection, rear cross traffic alert, and adaptive cruise control. Every QX50 comes standard with this 8-inch touchscreen, mainly used for navigation, and this 7-inch touchscreen, mainly used for multimedia controls. You also get standard wireless Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto, and you do come standard with a wireless charging pad. Now, if you upgrade to the Sport trim level, which is just around $48,500, you get additional amenities like these semi-aniline leather seats, which feel really nice. They also have heated and ventilated functionality. You also get standard a 12-speaker Bose audio system instead of the 6-speaker that come on the Pure trim. In addition, you get this textured aluminum trim piece all throughout the door panel and the dashboard. Looks really nice and is a hallmark of the Sport trim. In addition, you get ambient lighting, which is just this light strip underneath this panel and over here in the center arm console. Additionally, the Sport trim gets you a heated steering wheel, which feels really nice for winter climates like this, and a 360-degree camera. Now, the third reason why you should consider the QX50 is just how beautiful the lighting is. Take a look at these headlights, which look really nice, but that's not even what I want to point out. Take a look at this underglow lighting, which is kind of a hallmark of Infiniti, with the Infiniti logo underneath the door. And then as you approach the vehicle after it's been locked, the door handles will actually light up, allowing you just to enter the vehicle and see that beautiful lighting all throughout, including the door seal over here, which looks really nice. Furthermore, on the lighting subject, I briefly mentioned this before, but the ambient lighting looks beautiful inside of the cabin underneath these trim pieces. It's not overboard like some of the other competitors do, but it's just the right amount of touch to make this interior just feel a little bit more luxurious. Even the second row has a little bit of that ambient lighting underneath this textured aluminum trim piece. Now, the fourth reason why you should consider the QX50 is just because of its size. Even though it looks relatively relatively small from the outside. It's pretty much just a compact crossover. The interior is a little bit of a different story and is plenty of space for just a 4-person family. You got a really expansive dashboard over here, tons of legroom, tons of width in these seats. Also, the biggest story back here is second row legroom because it's one of the best in its class. You're looking at just around 38.7 inches of legroom in the second row, and that is larger than some of the other competitors like the X3 and the GLC. This seat is sitting pretty far back and I still have several inches of legroom. This is me sitting on the driver's side, way more space back here, definitely tons of room to stretch out, and this middle seat is actually pretty wide where you could still fit 2 people back here. You also have pretty good amenities back here with rear air vents and USB ports. You also have 4 cup holders with 2 in the center arm console, 2 more in the door, and headroom is pretty fantastic too. And did I say that you can recline the seats too? That's pretty nice. The trunk space is no exception. By walking up to the vehicle and kicking your foot under the door, it will automatically open the lift gate, and you've actually got about 31.4 cubic feet of space back here behind the second row. It actually is bigger than you would expect for a compact crossover and really handy to have for road trips. Opening up this compartment, you do have a little bit of closed storage over here. You also have a cigarette style 12-volt adapter. You can also fold down the second row seats by just pulling on this handle, which is really nice to have, and you've got a little bit of lighting back here to see what you're doing. The next reason why you should consider the QX50 is because of this 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder variable compression engine. This thing produces 268 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque, and will actually catapult this thing 0 to 60 in about 6.4 seconds, which is pretty impressive for a compact crossover. Fuel economy is also pretty good. You're looking at 22 in the city, 28 on the highway for a combined 25. The interesting thing about this engine is the variable compression part, and what that means is when you're coasting on the freeway trying to get the best MPG, this thing will actually increase the compression ratio, but when you're stomping on the gas pedal trying to pass somebody on the freeway, this thing will decrease the compression ratio to give you a little bit more oomph. Now, the next reason why you should consider a QX50 is just because of its comfort and ride quality. I mean, this thing looks, feels, and rides just like you would expect a luxury car to do. There's no denying that this is not a luxury vehicle. Take a look. We're about to drive over some train tracks. And that really wasn't that bad. It drives over them very smoothly considering this is driving on 20-inch wheels and run flat tires, which make it a little bit of a rougher ride. And this thing is still super smooth. The steering wheel is really nice to hold with its leather surfaces. Feels really comfortable on the hands. The seats are incredibly comfortable. They're zero gravity seats. So this thing just gives you a very serene type quality on the interior. You drive this car and you automatically de-stress a little bit from your day-to-day activities. It is just a very comfortable, plush, luxurious interior, and I've really enjoyed driving this vehicle for the last week. Okay, now let's talk about the 3 things that could be a little bit better on the QX50. First, let's talk about this dual screen setup. Personally, I don't mind that there's 2 screens over here, 8-inch up here, 7-inch down here. It's actually pretty cool and a little bit different than everybody else. But I do find it kind of odd that this is mainly just a GPS screen, and it's kind of a laggy GPS screen. It also just doesn't look very great. You do have a little bit more functionality where you could pull up your audio controls next to it, but it still isn't just as dynamic as some of the German competition in the same field. Also down here, this is a pretty good screen, but it is a little bit lacking on software. That is really the main complaint I have with these 2 screens, is the software just seems to be a little bit outdated. It's also pretty quick to respond, but here for 2023, it does seem like it's a little bit on the slower end. There are some competitors out there that have snappier and quicker screens, even from the non-luxury brands. I feel like if they just updated the software and added a little bit of a better graphics chip, these things would work a lot better and people would have a lot less complaints. Nonetheless, it is still a really high quality screen, lots of good graphics here, and lots of physical buttons. For all of you that hate touchscreen controls for your climate control radio, this thing has physical tune knobs, it's got physical climate control settings. Really nice to have both functionality here because you can either pull it up using the touchscreen or you can actually use the physical buttons. Now, for the next complaint I have about the QX50 really has to do with its 12-speaker Bose audio system. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad system overall. It actually sounds really crisp, but there is one thing really missing, and that is some low-end bass. This thing will not vibrate the side view mirrors or the rear view mirror. It won't let you feel it in your seats. It kind of just leaves you wanting for more. This is the same problem my brother had in his Infiniti Q50, which I imagine uses a very similar system, so much so that he had to get an aftermarket subwoofer underneath the seat to be able to feel that bass a little bit more. It's going to be hard for me to convey what that sounds like, but let me try to play you a song and see if you can tell whether the bass is lacking on this QX50. Now, as you may have heard, you do hear a little bit of that bass. You kind of feel it in your ears, but I want to feel it in my chest. Every other vehicle I've driven that has a good sound system, I can feel that bass in my chest. I can see the mirrors kind of shaking and the rear view mirror shaking. I don't experience that in this vehicle. I feel like it's just a little bit lacking. Even though the sound quality itself is really good, I think the bass should be a little bit better. Now, one other thing that I think Infiniti could improve in the QX50 has to do with the sound of that CVT. Now, personally, I don't mind the CVT in this vehicle. Even though a lot of people love to hate it, it's actually not that bad. It actually downshifts really quick, it upshifts really quick. It actually is a good match to this engine, the 2-liter turbocharged, and it's actually pretty quick. I mean, when you stomp on the pedal, this thing will accelerate to 60 in about 6.5 seconds, and you can feel it. I have never felt like this vehicle is underpowered. The one thing I have felt though is the fact that the sound of the CVT just doesn't sound very good. It sounds like it's just droning all the time, especially when you're under hard acceleration. And I don't really like that. That is kind of a hallmark of a CVT, but that is one thing that I wish they could have improved, because all the other aspects of a CVT transmission have been improved in this vehicle except for the sound. Now, it's not something you can't get used to because it's really not that awful. And for the most part, when you're driving on the freeway or just coasting at 40 miles an hour, you're not going to be able to hear it. It's only when you're stomping on the gas, but I did want to point it out because it is something that could be improved on the QX50. Well, there you have it, folks. That was 6 reasons why you should consider the Infiniti QX50 and 3 things that could be a little bit better. Overall, this is a really impressive vehicle, and I'm honestly surprised they don't sell more of these. It's luxurious on the outside, luxurious on the inside, and it's actually pretty quick in terms of its performance, and it's pretty good fuel economy. Let me know what you guys think of the QX50 down in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel for all of the weekly car videos, and check me out on all the social media. Until next time, everybody, I hope you stay schwazy, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day.